The Howard Center Arts Collective is a community of artists, a collective or a community of artists. We all have mental health and/or substance use challenges, either via our direct experience with these challenges or through a family member, a friend, or through our work.
So we had a couple of visits early this year with the Howard Center Arts Collective group, where they came, walked through the galleries, and they came up with a list of objects from the collections that they wanted to see. We had amazing conversations in our spaces about the artwork that they'd chosen. And then they went off to create their pieces, and now I'm getting to see the pieces they created. I can't wait to have more conversations with them about their artwork.
I went through the collection, the whole American collection, could not settle on what I wanted to choose.
I picked this enlistment poster from the archives of the Fleming. I knew right away I wanted to do this because I'm an activist with my artwork. And I thought, I'm gonna change this up. It's war, I'm doing peace. It's guys, I'm doing women. I love the fact that they're all over the world. I was crying when I read some of the stuff that these women have done. It's just amazing, you know?
Our goal as a collective is really to provide opportunities to connect as a community, to create art together, and to provide opportunities to exhibit our art to the community. I think one of the really unique aspects of the show is, basically the title, Call and Response. We've looked at pieces from the Fleming and that we were called to, and we've responded with our own interpretation, our own response to what we saw, where we saw meaning in those pieces.
It's a sketch. It's a sketch for a mural that was made in Brooklyn, New York, in a hospital during the 30s. It inspired me because it made me think of the progression of medical science and the history of medical science and just the many trial and errors. On the top scene, I actually have some kind of surgery taking place up here. They start off as cutouts way in the back. That's like the first layer. And I just build upon it with each layer.
I wanted to do something about white privilege. And this made me feel like it was a shattered portrait. And the title of the piece that I'm working on is called Shattered Fragility. And it's a portrait of Henry Perkins, who was the director of the Fleming. He was a eugenicist, and I felt like, he was a eugenicist because he's frail, right? If anybody I could think of to shatter their fragility, it would be him or myself. So with that in mind, there's a mirror underneath it here, so that whoever looks at this portrait of this guy Perkins is also going to look at their own portrait as well.
One of the initial themes we were talking about, again, in this space with other artwork surrounding us, was transformation. Because we've been talking about the reckonings and transformations at the Fleming Museum itself, and people were talking about the transformations they were feeling in their own lives, whether because of the pandemic or racial justice or just living.
My name is Rafad Amjad. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Iraq. I left Iraq because it's dangerous there. Before we coming here, we live in Turkey. I chose this painting because it's similar my life or story. I try to draw hard story, like how two people left from their country to safety place. I draw this painting with the acrylic color, and then I changed the background to like middle night. I'm really happy to share my painting with other artists.
أنا هو الناقد الوحيد اللي ينقذني من الحالات النفسية اللي كنت أمر بها نتيجة العواقب. نعم، يعني بعد أحداث عام 2003 اللي مرينا بها، العراق دخل بحرب طائفية واستولت الأحزاب والميليشيات كانوا يدعون، لكن يعني أنا ما تركت الرسم، يعني برغم من هذه المشاكل كلها، بس ما تركت الرسم. بديت أرسم وآخذ الأعمال مالتي أروح بها للعاصمة بغداد حتى أشارك بمعارض. لا طبعا هي بعض الأحزاب اللي تدعي بالإسلام يعني ينظرون بأن الرسم هو حرام، لكن هو الرسم مو حرام يعني. لما قرأت عن الفنان جاك كان يجسد الحروب ذاك الوقت، فعرفت بأن نفسي يعني أنا كفنان لازم أن أؤدي رسالتي بالصورة الصحيحة بما يخدم بلدي ويخدم المجتمع. وهذه الحمامات إنها ترسل رسالات سلام إلى كل العالم، يعني تبلغ العالم بأجمعه بإحنا ناس نريد نعيش بحب ونعيش بسلام.
I chose this little cricket box. It goes back to a practice of keeping lucky crickets. And I was reminded of somebody who used to tell me about the lucky crickets and how much that person was a support to me when I was reaching a culmination in my mental health to a point where I could no longer maintain it myself. So I decided to make a house, and I wanted to be a place where the lucky cricket could replenish its luck. I also, with this piece, was exploring different aspects of my own identity. And I incorporated, for the first time ever in my work, porcupine quills. I wanted to incorporate the porcupine quills because I myself am Mohawk. I'm mostly Caucasian, but I'm also Mohawk. And I don't know how much because of the eugenics program, because my family wouldn't talk about it, besides to confirm that we were. Basically so that I would know to keep quiet about it, because that was the generation that my grandmother came from, where it wasn't safe to talk about.
Well, this piece is called Tree Road Mountains. I just loved the abstract of the trees and the color scheme, the different shades of green, and I loved the sky. What it brought back were the memories of climbing Mount Mansfield when I was a youngster and looking at all these trees. And I haven't done that in years, and I wish I could.
Right now, I'm on a sky kick. I selected this beautiful painting called Figures on Beach with Balloons by Theodore Paulos. I like his mixture of the colors and the graying, and he's not afraid to use mud, and he's not afraid to take mistakes and turn them into art. I like how Theodore used a wide perspective of the sparse environment and the wide energy that takes place at the beach. So I wanted to explore that space and wideness, and without being afraid of what colors I used, or like not being afraid of what marks I made.
I was flipping through the artwork, and I got to that sketch, and I stopped because it immediately made me think of a sketch I had come across of my mother's. She wanted to be a fashion designer, and she was quite talented, but she had given it up for the 6 kids she had. And I was going to get back to her art when the kids were grown, but she passed when we were children, so that never happened. I found with the 5 women faces that I used as an inspiration represented that time period in America, and I wanted to represent what I see as America today. And I thought about all the people I knew and saw every day, and I thought about society right now. I thought about the issues we're having with race, with DACA, with this country.
In many ways, this exhibition and being here at the Fleming is really a culmination of our exhibitions over the last several years. And I think that's had a big impact on our artists. I have watched them over the course of the last several months putting an incredible amount of effort into their particular piece, their creation for this show.
I have learned to let the painting tell me where it's supposed to go, that flaws are to be expected and endorsed and sometimes embraced.
I have 2 things I learned about myself, I guess. My perfectionism really came out, and my patience grew. I make art because it keeps me sane, I believe. It gets me through life.